Hey, welcome back, everybody. Sarcasm speaks. Jared and Bob here. Game two of a day doubleheader, right? Not even a day night doubleheader. Although it is probably going to get dark soon because it sucks where we live, and it's 3:10. So we got. Well, the good news is, um, last Saturday I think was the shortest day of the year, right? So now every day gets a little bit
Dude,
longer.
day's getting longer.
Yeah, days. That's a little bit longer than it was yesterday. It still gets dark at 4:37 instead of 4:30, right? But hey, I'll take the 7 minutes, I suppose. Um, so we did a lot of construction talk on the last episode, but um, oh, these motherfuckers, this goddamn New York Times, they blocked me on the article. So I wanted to get to this. This is, I think, interesting that Joe Biden decided to pardon 37 of the 40 people that were on death row as part of his pardoning. Um, so a lot of people are already kind of going nuts, saying that he's already pardoned like over 8,000 people somehow. Like I don't, some of that has to be like a blanket pardon, like everyone that was involved in like this thing or something. You know what I mean? Like I can't imagine how you could possibly pardon over 8,000 people like individually for stuff. But oh, they won't even let me use my 12-foot ladder to go around. That sucks. All right, so I was able to look at the New York Times article like last week for free, and it because it broke down what everyone's individual crime was, that why they were on death row. Um, but I can't access it now. So fuck the New York Times. Um, but again, 37 of the 40 people that were on death row were, I guess I shouldn't say pardoned, they were commuted, right? So the other thing too that, again, people on the right are not being genuine when they speak about it either. They're like, how can they let these people go? Whatever. He's not letting them go, right? Effectively, what he's done is he's removed the death penalty as an option for these 37 people and changed their conviction effectively to life without the possibility of parole, right? So they're going to spend the rest of their lives in jail. Now they got life instead of the death penalty, because some people, again, this is a down the middle show, right? Like, well, as down the middle as we try to be. Um, the the people on the right recently, right, are like, oh, this is so fucking bad. Like he's letting all these people out of jail. They're heinous criminals, whatever. He's not letting anybody out of jail, right? So some of that could just be the people are misinformed, right? Like they just don't understand what's going on. They hear pardoned or commuted and they assume that means let out of jail. Um, but but he didn't let them out of jail. He just again took them off death row and changed their sentence to life without parole. Um, However, the thing where this comes, at least closer to us is there were three people um, that did not get taken off the death penalty by Biden. And one of them, again, has local ties here, was the Boston bomber, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. Biden did not take him off of death row.
I mean, credit to Biden, right? If we're gonna play this down the middle, I don't like the guy, but
Yeah.
credit to him for
So
that.
there are some theories, right? I'm trying to find out who the other two people are. Great English. Because I saw someone break this down on Twitter and explain why. I just have to ask ChatGPT who are the three people that Biden didn't pardon from death row to get the names. So So someone broke this down on Twitter. I'm not going to be able to find the tweet, so it's just easier for me to find the names and then paraphrase. So the three people that did not get pardoned, let me know if they potentially have something in common here. Um, Joe Karzanayev, right? If again convicted for his role in the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing. Um, Dylan Roof, who was found guilty in 2015 of the mass shooting at Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina. That was the church shooting in South Carolina, where 9 African American parishioners were killed. And Alfred Bourgeois, I think is how you pronounce his name, convicted of the abuse and murder of his 2-year-old daughter in 2002. Anything. So the 2002 one might actually throw you off a little bit because we were pretty young at the time. Um, but what can you deduce from the first two that you can probably also pull from the third one?
Truthfully, I may not have been listening close enough, but right for first rip, without having to ask you to repeat everything again, it didn't jump at me. So why don't you just skip a step?
High profile, they were in the news a lot.
Okay, so I wouldn't have caught that because I actually don't know if I knew about the church shooting in Charleston.
So yeah, I mean that's fine. That was
So
before we had this podcast. So
yeah, okay, that's why I don't know.
yeah, there was no reason to keep up on current events. Um, so 2015 also would have been like you were balls deep in trying to take the business over, right? When
Oh yeah, that
yeah,
was yeah. There's
yeah,
no okay, yeah. There's no way that makes sense as to why I have no clue.
yeah, because you got out of grad school in 2014, right?
Yeah, I bought the business or we bought the gym in 2015.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why. You're a little
I also
busy.
wasn't paying attention. That's the other
Yeah,
piece though. I
yeah,
wasn't
that's the
paying
other thing.
attention.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
a lot of these things I don't know anything about.
right. So what this person did on Twitter, where they broke this down, was the only reason he didn't pardon these three people is because of the public backlash that would have ensued. Because the other 37 people that were on death row did really awful things. They've like raped and murdered children. Like one person like murdered a woman and her daughter on the side of the road when their car was broken down. And like it was just it's absolutely disgusting human beings. But like they weren't super public, right? So what this person on Twitter said was if Biden had pardoned these three people that were very public and were all over the news whenever their crimes were committed, then the public backlash would have been immense, right? So he just didn't do it. So
Smart.
you could look at it one of two ways, right? You can look at it like you said, right? Good on him, right? Give him credit for credit where credit is due, or it's kind of a scumbag move.
So the reason I gave credit for Zarnaev specifically is my speculation is out of the 40, he's probably the only national terrorist that he pardoned, I would assume. Because if the next two in famousness is these two people that I have no clue who
Infamity?
they are.
Would it be infamity because they're infamous?
Yeah. So if the other two publicized cases, I have no clue who they are. That means there's no chance there's another national terrorist on death row. Is that fair to assume?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah. And if I'm wrong, whatever.
Because I think the real terrorists, not that he's not a real terrorist, but the non-US citizen terrorists are in Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah. Um, so still good, like credit where credit's due. You didn't pardon the guy that committed an act of terror against our country.
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
credit where credit's due. Now, credit where credit isn't due is if you only left those three guys because you just didn't want to deal with it after, bro, you're gone in a month.
Right. Right.
And you're not even doing anything. Like
Yeah, because the whole
people are
thing
gonna
is right, like
forget
the
that.
Democratic Party, right, is like the anti-death penalty party. So like that was his thing. He was like, "Oh, I'll just commute everyone that's on death row, except for these guys, because I don't want to deal with the headache that would come from these three."
Not even that big of a headache. He's on his way out.
Yeah,
Old as
exactly.
hell. And
But
people
it's
don't
also
I think people
legacy.
also forget
These
that he
these these type of people, they're fucking megalomaniac, egomaniacal, whatever, right? Pick your $12 word that you want to use. They're all the same. They give a shit about their legacy, right? Like they in a way it kind of makes them immortal, right? It's a form of immortality because you'll always be remembered for certain things and your legacy is what, people remember and they don't want anything to tarnish that.
yeah, I think the Republicans, the conservatives, whoever we're talking about here, I think they're gonna use this as their like see moment. And
Yeah.
I don't believe that this is it because for a few reasons. Number one, the timing of it. It's like, oh, see, the Democrats just want to show that, like they're anti-death penalty. Bro, you have the majority, like relax. You have the majority in everything right now.
Right. Right.
Like relax.
And you have had it for 4 years or at least 2 years.
Personally, uh I am a partial fan of the death penalty. I'm a conditional fan of the death penalty.
Yeah, I think
The
certain people
I
deserve it.
think extreme cases deserve it,
Yeah.
but I also believe that life in prison without a chance of parole is just as bad. Actually, it might be worse. Because then, whether you look at it like, oh, well, you get a chance to live, it's like, is that living? Is
Right.
that living? I don't
Yeah.
know. And it's
Yeah.
like, God for like, and then anyone in solitary or like a high profile person that goes to jail, and it's like they're kind of like
Right.
confined away from everyone. It's like that's not living.
Right. Right.
So, um, I look at life in prison without parole and the death penalty almost like a one for one. Um,
Yeah.
one's way less controversial than the other. So I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't, I just don't see why this would be the point the finger, like again, just another what I just don't see why this is
Right.
it.
Because
And
nothing can not be politicized anymore.
correct. And I get it. It's because what everyone's gonna say is like, well, he only did he only left those three because you didn't want to deal with the backlash. It's like, yeah, would you? I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
deal with the backlash.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the other 37, he pardoned them. It's like, yes, he is representative of the Democratic Party. That's what they do.
Right. Right.
And then you do have to accept that the move is very symbolic in the sense that it doesn't do anything. These people aren't free. They're not on the
Right.
street. No chance of parole. Like they are in prison. Like that is it.
Yeah.
Oh, what if they get out? What are they gonna not get caught?
Yeah.
It's a lot of what ifs
Right.
um, for this. So yeah, I mean, again, it's like in that because out of those 40 people, I'm sure there's only one that I think deserves the death penalty, and it's Zarnaev, and he's still there.
Right.
Um, that, sorry, that's not fair. The only one that I have a strong opinion on,
Right.
because
Right.
I don't know the other 37. If you
Yeah.
told me case by case, hey, this person, X person, don't even give me their name, doesn't matter, uh, murdered a child. Yeah, that's probably worthy of the death penalty, in my opinion. What the fuck did the child do to you?
Right. Right.
But it's like, well, do you feel strongly that they should get the death penalty or strongly that they should be life in prison without parole? I'm like, actually, you know what? I don't fucking care.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
If you kill a 2-year-old when you go to prison, your life sucks.
Yeah.
Good fucking luck.
Right. Right. People find out what you came to jail for,
They
and
already
it
know.
it matters.
They know.
Yeah.
Your life is a living hell.
Yeah,
And actually, you know what? The death penalty actually kind of gets you off scot-free. So you know what? Rot in prison. I don't give a fuck.
right, right. Yeah, there's also some sort of like financial aspect to it too. Like one ends up being more of a drain on the system. Like one
I think
costs
keeping them
more money.
alive. I think keeping them alive because if they stay alive, because if they're in prison, there is a responsibility to keep them alive.
Right.
And if someone goes in when they're 40, you conceivably may have to keep this person alive for 40 years
Yeah.
plus.
Well, the thing about death row is like you don't get sentenced and then get killed immediately. Like there was someone on death row that was placed, like was convicted in 1999. Like 25 years ago, they
Yeah,
were
that's a long time.
convicted and they still haven't been killed yet. And they got the death penalty. And now they won't be. Right. But like there's some weird thing. I don't really know what it is. I feel like Sexy Chris would understand it a lot more. Um,
Well, it
but
certainly depends because Timothy McVeigh didn't make it too long.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Probably still longer than you thought.
but some people like sit on death row for like decades before they actually get put to death.
Yeah, I mean, again, so that was my guess. Because I know the process of all of everything takes a while. Um, but I would imagine keeping them alive is way more expensive.
Yeah, probably. I would imagine.
Yeah, Timothy McVeigh only waited 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird thing, right? Because like especially if someone got convicted of something 25 years ago and got put to death, right? Like got sentenced to the death penalty. Technology has advanced in 25 years. Like what if there was a way to figure out that like, oh shit, maybe that person didn't do it.
Think I in hey, I'm all for it. Like if you're going to give someone the death penalty and execute on it,
Yeah. Dun-dun-sh.
um, make sure you're right, please,
Yeah. Yeah.
because there's been wrongful incarcerations like throughout the
Plenty of them
history of
actually.
incarceration. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like I don't feel strongly one way or the other. Like I do think tomorrow if an American citizen actually it doesn't need to be an American citizen. Yeah, it should be an American citizen because that it gets weird with international law. Um, but like if an American citizen decides to blow up a building in a major city in the United States full of United States citizens, I think that that person should probably get the death penalty.
Right.
Um, but you like if someone murders, say, seven people in cold blood, and it's like, do you really? It's like, do you really want that person to like live in prison? It's like, it's not life. That's not. It's not a life. Like
Right. Right.
it's like, yeah, but they get to live, and it's like it's not worth living.
Yeah, like what's the difference of whether they're dead or alive?
And
Like
that's
those
why,
seven
like that.
people are gone, right? Like it's not going to bring the victims back.
No, and that's why personally, I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. And it's like,
Yeah.
look, eye for an eye. It's like,
I kind of feel about it similar to how I do about Schmishmorshman. Um, is like I'm pro the option of having it, but like I'm not
I'm
really
very indifferent
like
to it.
I'm kind of indifferent, right? Like it is what it is, right? Like I think the death penalty should be an option, right, for someone like the Boston bomber or Timothy McVeigh or the Unabomber, right? Like someone that's gonna, or God forbid, like another 9/11 or something like that, right? Like I am very much in favor of having the death penalty as an option, but I'm not
Yeah,
going to
especially at the
sit.
federal level, right? Because that's
Yeah,
what this is. It's not at the
right.
state, like because
But I'm
state
not
by
going to
state
sit
can
here and
choose.
like pound my chest being like, we need to have the death penalty because we need to sentence people to death for crimes that they commit. It's like, nah, man, like the really bad ones, like the extreme ones, we should probably have it, right? It should be an option. Um, But same thing, like I said, with abortion, right? Like, yeah, it should be an option. Like, people should have the right to choose whatever they want to do. Again, as a dude, it's never going to affect me, right? Especially as a married man now, like it doesn't fucking matter. Um, like when I already have a kid, right? It's like literally I couldn't be further removed from that, but I still think that people should have the option, right? And we've done the whole shtick before, but like to pretend it's nothing is kind of a joke. Like you are ending a life, but you should have the right to do that, right? Like you can have a foot on both ends of it, right? And be a reasonable person, God forbid.
No,
Um,
no
but
reasonable.
yeah, similar with like I said with the death penalty. Like it probably should be an option, right? Like, but
Always have it in the back pocket.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I got anything else before we wrap this up?
Gotta be quick.
Yeah. Oh, I saw actually you sent something the other day about people freaking out about Elon Musk being the real president. I think this is hilarious. Um,
Okay.
um,
I forget what it was, but
yeah, it was a tweet, but then I started like seeing stuff on Twitter, yeah, because the algorithm, and everyone's tweeting like, "Oh, these people like, oh, we didn't elect President Musk to like do all this stuff," and people are calling him like President-elect Musk, and all like these people are absolutely retarded.
yeah, I mean, all of these positions are appointed.
Yeah. But everyone is going after him because there was a bill, right? It's called a continuing resolution, which is just to continue funding for the government so the government doesn't shut down. Originally, the bill that was proposed was like 6,000 pages long. Like I saw a picture of a stack of it on a desk. It was like 4 inches thick, like maybe even a little bit more. Like it was thousands of pages. And Elon Musk like put it out on Twitter and was like, this is ridiculous. Like we shouldn't have this. And then people started like running with it. And I guess people did, God forbid, what you're supposed to do is they picked up the phone and they called their local representative in the federal government and said, do not vote for this. And people were so inundated that they scrapped the bill and they redrafted one that was like 180 pages. And then because of that, everyone was like, oh, is Elon Musk running the government now? Like, oh, President-elect Musk, like, oh, Elon Musk gets to determine what we do and all this. And it's like, well, first of all, he did something good, right? So, like, anyone that's bitching about it, like, they're kind of showing the true colors there. And then, secondly, like, why? And this was his point. He goes, why is there language in the bill about like removing certain words from the lexicon in a bill that's supposed to be about funding for the government? Like, I guess there was a whole section where the federal government would not have been allowed to refer to homeless people as homeless. They would have had to, from that point forward, refer to them as the unhoused, right? Like, it would have been like a federal decree in writing that you can't call someone homeless. And that not like that we, the public, can't, but like the federal government, right? Like if they were going to write another bill, they wouldn't be able to say like, oh, it's the Homeless Support Act. It would have been like the Unhoused Support Act, like all of this language again in like 6,000 pages. And he goes, you don't need it. He goes, you have one goal is to agree on funding for the federal government through March. This bill should only be about funding for the federal government through March. And like everyone was flipping out about it and like losing their mind. And Elon Musk equals bad.
one bill, one topic.
Yeah. And then everyone was like, "Oh, the secret fucking billionaires are running like the billionaire that's running the scene. Like, oh, is Trump a puppet now?" Like everyone's saying like Musk or whatever. But then the flip side of that, which is fucking great, is people were just like replying to those tweets, showing pictures of like Bill Gates
Yeah,
being
that's
involved with like the Democrats and like all
this is
these
what
people and be like,
happened.
oh, but it's not a problem when this
Yeah,
billionaire is
that's
involved in politics, only when
what
that
happens when
billionaire is
people are
involved.
stupid.
Yeah.
This is what happens when people are stupid.
Yeah. People are fucking retarded. So Everyone is dumb.
Yeah, and I did see this is it before we get to final thoughts. I did see someone like once upon a time, and they were like, or once upon a time, it's like religion would kind of like occupy the stupid people.
Right.
Now they don't really kind of do a lot of religion anymore. So it's like
Now
now it's like
politics is
government is
religion.
their religion, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. That's a real thing. I believe that. So, with that said, let's wrap this up. You got
So
some shelves to build.
I do. I was given a bottle of limoncello. The bottle of limoncello, I forget the brand. Maybe Pinelli. Um, doesn't matter. It is a product of Italy, and if you've ever seen the difference, as some Instagram thing told me, Pellini, sorry. Um, a product of Italy is different than made in Italy. Product of Italy means it comes from over there.
Yeah.
So generally, if you're looking for an Italian tomatoes, Italian pasta, Italian whatever, you want product of Italy. And I think that's okay most of the time. I do think there are some times where it's like things get weird because it's like product of Italy and it's olive oil and it's like olive oil from Greece,
Yeah.
Tunisia,
Yeah.
Spain, and maybe Italy. So it's an Italian product, just not Italian stuff.
Right. Right.
Um, so you run into that. But anyway, so the Pellini limoncello was gifted to me. I like limoncello. That's why I told you to make it. Um, I think I was drinking one night. I go, you should start making limoncello. And I do like it, whatever. So I was looking at the bottle and product of Italy, right? Like you can
Hmm.
find where it comes from, whatever. And it says contains yellow 5.
Okay.
And I believe this is the type of shit where when people say like, "Hey, our food system is fucked,"
Yeah.
and then people are like, "No, it's the same thing." I'm 90% sure that if I bought Pellini limoncello in Italy, which I can't confirm this because I've been there once. I forgot to disclose that. I have been there once. I don't remember if the Pellini limoncello over there says contains yellow 5. I
Right.
have a feeling it does not, because
Probably
they
not.
care too much about that shit with dyes and preservatives and all types of shit like that.
Right.
Especially a product like limoncello, that's like a domestic product. Um, like they'll allow shitty stuff to be in Coke. They'll allow because it's not theirs.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yes, they serve it. Yes, they ban Diet Coke, but like that's an American product. They don't care
Right.
as much. Um, so I thought it was interesting that the yellow 5 was there because that's what we're getting over here. It's got it. I assume it doesn't have it in Italy. That's fine. And in yellow 5 was the Mountain Dew one that everyone thought was so bad. What was red 40 and yellow 5, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And I'm just like, here it is. Here you go. This is what they're talking about. And it reminded me, which I may have brought up, but I'll bring it up again. So Michaela bought some skincare when our shit was missing.
Hmm.
So the skincare stuff, same brand, same product, same bottle, same everything. One was purchased in Rome, one was purchased in the United States. When she got her shit back, the two bottles next to each other, the one purchased in the United States, significantly more green than the one purchased in Italy.
Hmm. Interesting.
And yeah, it was crazy. I should actually go back to the store and show them like what they sell in the US. I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking lady will have a heart attack. But uh, it's just like a little bit of evidence here and there. Like we're not in the United States, we are not getting the same stuff.
No, we're not. And that's why everyone like shits on RFK for all that stuff. And it's like he's
Well,
right. He's
well, they
not
also
wrong.
shit on RFK because, like, it's because he went after fucking medicine. That's what fucked this all up. Because people trust doctors for whatever reason,
Yeah.
or they blindly trust doctors for whatever reason.
Right.
And most of what he has to say about food, everyone's on board with. But then
Right.
it's like when he's talking about food and he talks about vaccine, that's where he gets all fucking fucked up. Because
Yeah.
if you say that, but then some people, yeah, just to play contrarian to him, like, nah, food's the same. Flour's flour. No, it is not.
Right.
Like the imported products are not the imported products.
Right. Right.
Like there's a reason why you need to get some of this shit at certain places because it's like product of Italy contains yellow 5. It's like I'm very sure it would not have it over there.
Right.
Thus, product of Italy with an American fucking touch to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, the product of my basement doesn't have yellow five in it either. And it's fucking delicious.
Yep.
We gotta figure out I'll take a trip up there at some point in the next couple weeks. I'll just hang out with you and Bill and I'll bring the bottle.
What did it end up yielding? Like one like 750 for you?
Um one just shy of a handle. It was 1.5 liters.
Okay. And what'd you
So
start with?
a 750 of Everclear.
Okay.
So I mixed it with I did a 1-to-1 Everclear because it is Everclear. I did a 1-to-1 with booze and simple syrup. So the
Yep.
750 and 750 gave you 1.5 liters. So it's pretty good.
It will
Um
slap a private label on that. Call it
yeah. Yeah.
not your yellow 5 limoncello.
Yeah, there you go. So my final thought should be a pretty quick one. But now again, having a kid going through Christmas and getting toys and everything, I cannot stand the sound that comes from the different toys. Um, it doesn't make any sense to me how some toys are ridiculously loud to the point where like it kind of like makes me anxious, right? Like there's a like a Santa Claus that the wee baby actually really enjoys. Shout out to Nick. He got it for him for Christmas a couple weeks ago. And it's funny. I get it. It's the whole thing. Like you get the people stuff that's loud and obnoxious and annoying because it's not your kid and you don't have to deal with it. I get it. I've been there, right? I've bought all those toys for my cousin's kids over the years. But like that one Santa is so fucking loud. It like shakes me to the core a little bit. But then he's got other toys that have sound that's so soft, I can't fucking hear anything what it's saying. I'm like, he has no idea what they're saying, like what's going on right now, because I can't hear it. There's no way he can hear it and tell what's happening. Like he's got little like farm animals that I bought that have like things in them and they say like I'm a cow, I go moo, but like you can barely hear it. It's so soft. And it's just so inconsistent across the board with kids' toys on the sound until I think my mother got him a leapfrog learning thing. It's like a little hot dog and it's got the alphabet on them on both sides. So you like push the button and it says like B for bear. Like let's say B, like it's one of those things. And the on switch has volume control. So it's off and it's got volume one, volume two, and I think a volume three. So you can actually control how loud you want it on there. And I go, that's what all shit should have. All these fucking kids' toys should have some sort of volume regulation, because otherwise it's ridiculous. It's either way too loud or it's way too soft. So fucking kids' toys. But yeah, that's it. That's going to do it. We squeezed two of them in here. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe up above, hit the thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you're an audio only guy. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. The website is sarcasmspeaks.com. It's probably the last day you can find us on the website because we don't use it. So I'm not renewing it. So I don't have to say it anymore, probably after this episode. Um, check out the show notes below. Support the sponsors, support us, and until next time, good night, everybody.